let's look at the previous revolutions in money. In the 16th century, there was this radical proposition to replace gold with gold certificates written on paper. And if you think people find Bitcoin weird, imagine the time when they told them gold is no longer the money, bits of paper are. They're like, you gotta be kidding me. So that idea was so radical, it took 400 years until it became broadly deployed in mainstream society. The next one in the 1950s was credit cards. And so with credit cards, people were now told the pieces of paper that have the government seal on them are now pieces of plastic that have a company number on them, and that's it. But don't worry, you'll get paid eventually. It took almost 50 years for that to become mainstream. You really started seeing it around the middle of the 1980s, and I remember as recently as the early 90s, in most places in Europe, you couldn't pay with a credit card anywhere, right? I remember coming back from the United Kingdom as a student and visiting Greece, visiting Italy, visiting Spain with my brand new Visa debit card. And boy, was that a disaster, because I couldn't use it anywhere. So 400 years for the first one, 50 years for the second one. I think we can do Bitcoin in less than 15, maybe 20. We're going to see broad adoption of a form of digital money that will be based on a shared, open, borderless cryptographic ledger. Whether it's called Bitcoin or something else, I don't know, but it will be broadly based on those ideas.
But every 210,000 blocks, which is about every 4 years, that reward gets cut in half. So right now, the reward is 12.5 Bitcoin per block. And because this reward decreases geometrically over time, it means there will never be more than 21 million Bitcoin in existence.
Like gold, once we run out of it, we can't mine more. And the theory is that Bitcoins will become more expensive as they become more rare.
Currently, Bitcoin network can process on average between 3 and 7 transactions per second. If Bitcoin wants to become a viable mean of payment, it has to start competing with already existing solutions. The good news is that the Lightning Network can potentially scale to millions of transactions per second and dramatically increase the transaction speed. That is exactly why the technology started attracting a lot of attention.
So back to the internet, I believe the internet will have a native currency.
Really?
It'll have a native currency, and I don't know if it's Bitcoin. I think it will, because just given all the tests it's been through and the principles behind it, how it was created, and it was something that was born on the internet, that was developed on the internet, that was tested on the internet. It is of the internet.
Now, if Bitcoin goes to zero, are you going to bail out the people who have a lot of Bitcoin? I didn't think so. So they still run the risk. All of us do, who are invested. Anybody who's invested in Bitcoin is running an enormous risk that they will lose their entire investment. Right? That's part of the risk. No risk, no reward. And nobody's coming to bail out Bitcoin. So from that perspective, I think that's earned wealth in a way that is much more true for many other aspects of society. Do I think it's the most equal system? No, but I don't think Bitcoin is going to be the only system we create. Bitcoin is a test bed. Yeah, sure, lots of people may become rich on Bitcoin, but there will be other cryptocurrencies, there will be other decentralized ledgers, and broad adoption doesn't mean just Bitcoin. It could be a completely different system that's built from scratch and much more equally distributed. In fact, if you think this is a big problem, start writing the blockchain that will be more equally distributed and bring it to the world. Bitcoin already gives you the recipe.
We would love to see something become a global currency. It enables more access. It allows us to serve more people. It allows us to move much faster around the world.
This is another step towards this sort of new way of doing things.